Good morning, children. Stay safely at home and also learn all the study related work and do all the study related work also properly. Now already I have discussed about in the work energy power chapter how many types of collisions are there. There are elastic collision, and inelastic collision. Now elastic collision and inelastic collision, in both the cases you know that conservation of linear momentum is obeyed. Why? Because there is no external force acting on the two colliding bodies. That's why in both the cases conservation of linear momentum is obeyed. But in case of elastic collision, only kinetic energy remain conserved. Alright, and in case of inelastic collision, kinetic energy changes. Alright, kinetic energy do not remain constant. This is the difference that I taught in the last lecture. Now today I will discuss elastic collision in one dimension. One dimension means what? Both the colliding body before collision and after collision moving along the same straight line. Okay, before the collision and after the collision also the motion of the body is along one straight line. That's why it is elastic collision in one dimension. So let us consider there are two bodies of masses m1 and m2 and initially moving with a velocity u1 and u2. Alright, now in this case, before starting the discussion, I just want to point out one thing, that this topic is very important for concept wise, exam wise, every way it is important, and you take the means whenever you will write down u and v, you please write down properly. Alright, not that u and v anyway you are writing as you are not having clear concept and then you are just trying to make v as u as v. Do not do it. Every time when you are writing u and v, you write it properly. U generally we use to denote the velocity before collision and v we use to denote the velocity after collision. So here you see the two bodies are moving with the velocity u1 and u2, and in this case you see u1 greater than u2. Then only what will happen, the first body will come and collide with m2, otherwise it is not possible. Then what is happening during the time of collision, just understand it, these two bodies, they are exerting force on each other during the time of collision. And here this is the direction of the force on the body m1 exerted by 2. So you see how I have written F12. So F12 is acting in this direction. Whereas F21 it will act in this direction. Is that clear? So you see what will happen after the collision. If you consider the two bodies, they are moving with the velocity v1 and v2. Is that clear? Here look at the forces acting on m1. On m1, force acting opposite to the direction of motion. So what happens to the body m1? Its velocity decreases to v1. Whereas if you consider m2, that look at it, on m2 the force acting during the time of collision is along its direction of motion. So what happens to m2? Its velocity increases from u2 to v2. Alright, this is before collision and this is during the collision, and this one collision term I have not written, it is understood. And this one after collision. After collision the velocities are v1 and v2, and you see always they are moving along the same straight line. That's why it is in one dimension. Now you see here as it is a collision, so we can apply the conservation of linear momentum. So according to conservation of linear momentum, what you can write, the momentum before the collision equal to momentum after the collision of the system. So if you consider the system, what is the momentum of the first body before collision? m1 into u1. What is the momentum of the second body? m2 into u2. Now you look at it, u1 and u2 acting in the same direction, so you have to add it. Alright, so what is the total linear momentum before collision? m1 u1 plus m2 u2. Then what will be the momentum after collision? m1 v1, this is the momentum of the first body after collision. Then m2 v2 is the momentum of the second body after collision. So this is the total momentum after collision, so you can equate them. Alright, now you can do this. You just take the terms having u1 together and take the terms having m1 together and take the terms having m2 together. So you see, you can take m1 common, you are having u1 minus v1 and here you are getting m2 into v2 minus u2. So this is equation number 1 we have got. Alright, then next is, as it is an elastic collision, so you can write according to the conservation of kinetic energy. Conservation of kinetic energy. What you can write? Kinetic energy before collision. So you see, what is the kinetic energy of the first body? Half m1 u1 square. What is the kinetic energy of the second body before collision? Half m2 u2 square. So it is the total kinetic energy before collision. Then it should be equal to total kinetic energy after collision. So what is the kinetic energy of the first body after collision? Half m1 v1 square. Then you can write it as second body kinetic energy, half m2 v2 square. Now you see, you can, all the terms are having half, so you can cancel from the both sides. And then you can do this, that take the term having m1 together. So you are getting, you see, m1 into u1 square minus v1 square. And here you are getting m2 into v2 square minus u2 square. So this is equation number 2. Alright. Now I hope you have written it in your notebook. Now I have to rub the board. Now if you divide equation 2 by equation 1, then you see, it will be m1 u1 square minus v1 square by m1 u1 minus v1 is equal to this. So you see, m1 m1, m2 m2 you can cancel. Again, u1 square minus v1 square, you can write it as u1 minus v1 into u1 plus v1. And here down u1 minus v1. And in this case, what you are getting? It will be v2 minus u2 into v2 plus u2 divided by v2 minus u2. So these two terms again you can cancel. So you are getting u1 plus v1 is equal to u2 plus v2. Alright, this is equation number 3. Is that clear? So this is a very important relation. From this one you see what you are getting. u1 minus u2 is equal to v2 minus v1. Alright. So what is the meaning? Relative velocity of two bodies before collision, alright, is equal to relative velocity of the two bodies after collision. Relative velocity of two bodies after collision. This is a very important point, and this happens only for elastic collision. Alright, this from the equation number 3 we are getting this important relation. So this relation you must remember that only in case of elastic collision it happens. What is u1 minus u2? Relative velocity of the second body with respect to the first, and in this case also relative velocity of the second body with respect to the first. Means this is also relative velocity before collision and this is relative velocity after collision. These two becomes equal only in case of elastic collision. So you must remember it. Alright. And from equation 3 you are getting this also, u1 plus v1 is equal to u2 plus v2. So you see, you can write down from this equation that V1 is equal to U2 plus V2 minus U1. Alright. So substitute it in equation 1. So from equation 1 or in equation 1, what are you getting? Substituting V1 in equation 1. Alright, V1 is this. You see from this one, V1 is how much? U2 plus V2 minus A1. What are you getting? What was the first equation? This was the first equation. So we can write like this. You see, M1 into U1 minus V1. So minus V1 means it will be minus U2 minus V2 plus U1 is equal to, you are getting M2 into V2 minus U2. Alright. So you see here in this equation there is only one unknown, V2. So we have to find out what is V2. So for that, what you have to do, you just first open the brackets. So if you are opening the brackets, then you see what you are getting, M1 U1 minus M1 U2 minus M1 V2 plus M1 U1, M1 U1 is equal to M2 V2 minus M2 U2. Alright. Now you see, here is M1 U1, here is also M1 U1. So you can write it as 2 M1 U1. Alright. Now here you see M1 V2 is there, here M2 V2 is there. So what we will do? First of all, we will take all the terms having V2 on one side and rest of the terms on the other side. So you see here, I have got minus M1 U2, then here this is not having V2. So I am bringing it this side. So it is becoming M2 U2 equal to, you see what are you getting, M2 V2, and then it is minus M1 V2. So it will become plus M1 V2. Is that clear? So you see, V2 you can take common. So you can write V2 into M1 plus M2 equal to, here you see what are you getting? You are getting first 2 M1 U1, and then if you take U2 common, what you are getting? M2 minus M1. Alright, there is no place. So after here, again you have to come here, okay. From this step, I am writing again from the beginning. So you see, you can write what will be V2. You just take M1, M2 this side. So it will become 2 M1 U1 divided by M1 plus M2. Then plus, you can write it as M2 minus M1 into U2 divided by M1 plus M2. Alright, so this is the expression, this is equation number 4 we have got. V2 is the unknown velocity, because before the collision the two velocities, the masses of the two bodies generally known to us. So what is the unknown quantity? The velocity after collision. So we have got the velocity of the second body after collision. This is the relation. Alright, again if you consider from equation 3. From equation 3, you can write V2 is equal to, V2 you can write it as U1 plus V1 minus U2. Alright, because what was the equation? U1 plus V1 equal to V2 plus U2. Alright, so what will be V2? U1 plus V1 minus U2. Now, substituting V2 in equation 1, what you will get? If you substitute V2 in equation 1. So, in equation 1, you know it is M1 into, it was U1 minus V1, then equal to M2 into, it was V2 minus U2. Alright, so V2 is how much? U1 plus V1 minus U2, then minus again another U2 is there. Alright, now you have to Now you open the brackets. So if you open the brackets, what are you getting? M1 U1 minus M1 V1 equal to M2 U1 plus M2 V1, and then you see minus U2 it will become minus 2U2. So you can write it as minus 2 M2 U2. Is that clear? Now again you take all the terms having V1 together and other terms on the other side. So you see what are you getting? M1 U1, then it is coming minus M2 U1 and it will become plus 2 M2 U2, then is equal to M2 V1, and here there is one term having V1, so you take it this side, M1 V1. Alright, now if you interchange the two terms, then it will remain the same. So I am doing that. So if you take V1 common from these two, it will become M1 plus M2. And here you see what are you getting? You are getting first 2 M2 U2, and then if you take U1 common, you are getting it is M1 minus M2. So you see what is V1? V1 is 2 M2 U2 divided by M1 plus M2, then plus M1 minus M2 into U1 divided by M1 plus M2. So these are the two expressions for the velocities after the collision. Is that clear? Now these two expressions you are supposed to learn and remember for answering the conceptual questions as well as the numericals. Alright? Although these expressions are big, but there is a trick to learn and remember these two equations. Alright? So I am telling you the trick how to remember and how to write these two equations. Now I am telling you the trick to write these two equations. Okay. So suppose I am starting with V1. So how to write? First of all, there are two terms. So you write the two terms like this. Clear? Then you see the denominator is M1 plus M2 for both the cases. So you write the denominator M1 plus M2. Then for V2 also do the same thing. First of all, there are two terms. So write down the two terms, and in both the cases denominators are M1 plus M2. So write it. Is that clear? Then how to write? When it is 1. Okay, I am repeating. When here subscript is 1, then here the first term there will be 2. Here also the first term there will be 2. Then you see when it is 1, then the first term is coming M2 U2. 1, then 2, 2. Is that clear? Then when it is 1, then here it is coming the M1 minus M2. As it is U2 already you have got. So here you will get U1. Is that clear? Now come to this one, V2. So what it will be? As it is 2, it will be 1, M1, U1. So as it is U1 is there, then it will, the term will be U2 here. Then within bracket what you will get? As it is 2. So you see here, when it is 1, then M1 minus M2. So as it is 2, what you will write? M2 minus M1. I hope you have understood it. So this is the two way or the tricks one can remember V1 expression for V1 and V2, which is very important to learn and remember. So you must learn and remember and practice it. The expression for V1 and V2 after elastic collision in one dimension. Now we will apply this condition for the special cases. So first case we generally consider, if you consider both the masses are equal, M1 equal to M2 equal to M. Then you see from this relation what you are getting, V2 equal to M1 equal to M2 equal to M. Then this term will not exist. Why? Because it will become M minus M0. So what will happen? U2 term will not be there. Then it will be how much you see? 2M U1 divided by 2M, and it is coming 0. Is that clear? So what you are getting? 2M getting cancelled. V2 equal to U1. Like that. what will be V1? V1, you see, the first term will become 2mu2 divided by 2m, and second term, as it is having m1 minus m2 0, so what are you getting? u2. So you see, the two velocities are exchanged. Means the second body after collision gets the velocity of the first body before collision, and the first body after collision gets the velocity of the second body before collision. Alright, so these two is very important. Means what you can write, what will happen? V2 will become U1 and V1 will become U2. Is that clear? Clear to everybody? I hope so. And when it will happen? When the two masses are equal to each other. Is that clear? Then the next thing is that the two bodies are having equal mass, and you see this M2 is at rest and M1 is moving. So this M2 is known as the target. Why target? As if the first one is targeting to hit the second body. So that is known as the second body, with which the first body coming and colliding is known as the target body. Alright. So here what we are considering, that M1 equal to M2 equal to M and U2 is equal to 0. The body is at rest. In that case, what will happen? Just see, look at it. V2 will happen how much? It will become 2m U1 divided by 2m, and this one is U2 0. So this is 0. So what are you getting? V2 is U1. Then how much will be V1? Here you see U2 0. The first term is 0. And here M1 equal to M2. So this is also 0. So 0. Is that clear? So again you see, we are getting the same thing only, that V2 equal to U1 and V1 equal to U2, but in this case U2 0. So what will happen? The first body means this is the condition. Then after collision, what will happen? The second body will move, but the first body will come into rest. Alright. So this is the second case. Then the next case. Now you see what is happening. Next case, what we are considering, very interesting, you can enjoy it. The target is at rest, so the target U2 is 0. And second condition, target is massive than the colliding body. So just look at the diagram, M2 is much greater than M1. So you can neglect M1 with respect to M2. And so look at the diagram, M1 is very small, moving with the velocity U1, and here a massive target waiting for the first body. Then you see what is happening to V2. V2 will become, you see here, M1 is negligibly small. So M1 negligibly small. So what will happen? This will become 0, and as U2 is already 0, so what will happen? The target, it will be at rest only, V2 equal to 0. Now look at it, V1. What will be the velocity V1? Here you can write 2m2 and then U2 0. U2 was 0, sorry. So this first term is coming 0. Come to the next term. Here it is M1 is negligibly small, so you can write it as minus M2, then U1 divided by M1 plus M2. You can neglect M1, so you are getting M2. So how much you are getting? Minus U1. So if you look at the diagram, what will happen, you know? After the collision, the target will be at rest, V2 0. And what will happen to this M1? It will retrace the same path with the same velocity. Is that clear? Clear to everyone? I hope so. So this is the very interesting one. Suppose there is a heavy target and a small body is coming and colliding with the target, heavy target at rest. Then what will happen? The target will be at rest only. And what will happen to that small body? It will move back, okay, with the same velocity. What is V1? Minus U1. Is that clear? So this will happen. That's why I have drawn the diagram here. This will happen, that you see M1 is moving back with the same velocity and the target is at rest. Clear? Then, now next case is that target is very small but the colliding body is massive and target is at rest. So you see, again look at this one, and M1 is much greater than M2. So in this case, what is happened? M1 is much greater than M2. So it will become 2M1, then U1 divided by, you can neglect M2 with respect to M1. So M1 plus M2 will become M1 and U2 0. So the second term is 0. So what are you getting? You are getting 2U1. Then what will be V1? V1, what will happen? Just look at it. U2 0. So first term 0. Then in the second case, M1 you can take. So M1 U1 divided by M1. So you are getting it as U1. So if I consider this case, you see after collision what will happen? If I depict it, you see V2. The velocity of this one means the small body, it will move with the velocity 2U1. And what will happen to the massive one? Massive one, it will move with the same velocity U1. V1 is U1. Understood? So after collision, what is happening? The massive body continue its motion with the same velocity, whereas the smaller one, it will move twice the velocity of the massive body. Is that clear? So these are all special cases of elastic collision in 2 dimension. You must practice all this starting from V1 and V2. As I said, from the work energy power chapter, this is the most important topic. So theoretically also you have to learn it, and for numerical and concept also you have to learn it. Now next is inelastic collision in 1 dimension. Inelastic collision, generally it happens, both the body after collision sticks together and move as one body. Alright. So here that's why this is the way I have drawn the diagram, that M1 is moving with the velocity U1, M2 moving with the velocity U2, then colliding each other, then sticking together and moving with the same velocity. So you see, according to conservation of linear momentum, what you can write, I am writing in short, according to conservation of linear momentum, you can write momentum before the collision M1 U1 plus M2 U2 equal to momentum after the collision. So it will become M1 plus M2 equal to V into V. Is that clear? Now if you consider that the target is at rest. So you see what is happening. Target at rest means U2 equal to 0. So what is happening to this equation? M1 U1 is equal to M1 plus M2 into V. So you see V is becoming M1 U1 divided by M1 plus M2. Is that clear? This is equation number 2. Now what will be the kinetic energy before collision? So kinetic energy before collision, let us denote it by K1. K1 will be how much? It will be half M1 U1 square. Why M1 U1 square? Because U2 equal to 0. So it has no kinetic energy. And then what will be the kinetic energy after collision? Let us denote it by K2. Remember that K1 is not the kinetic energy of the first body. K1 is the kinetic energy before collision and K2 is the kinetic energy after collision. So you see what will be the kinetic energy after collision? Half M1 plus M2 into V square, isn't it? Because after collision, both the bodies will behave as one body, so their mass will be M1 plus M2, and what is their velocity? Common velocity V. So what are you getting? Kinetic energy after collision is half M1 plus M2 into V square. So you see, if you take the ratio K2 by K1, half M1 plus M2 V square by half M1 U1 square, then half of you can cancel. Again V was how much? M1 U1 by M1 plus M2. So what will be V square? M1 square U1 square by M1 plus M2 whole square. So this M1 plus M2 square you can cancel, and here 1 M1 and square you can cancel, U1 square getting cancelled. So what are you getting? M1 by M1 plus M2. This is the relation. Also you must remember that K2 by K1 is given by M1 divided by M1 plus M2, provided U2 0. Okay, the target is at rest. So you see from this relation what you are getting, as denominator is bigger than numerator, so it should be less than 1, means K2 is less than 1, means kinetic energy after collision is less than kinetic energy before collision. So kinetic energy is changing, that's why this is known as the inelastic collision. Now loss of kinetic energy in inelastic collision, what it will be? Kinetic energy before collision minus kinetic energy after collision, and we have already shown that K2 is less than K1 or K1 is greater than K2. So you see, if I substitute expression for K1 and K2, it is half M1 U1 square minus M1 plus M2 M1 U1 square by this. Now you see, on simplification, what are you getting? You are getting here M1 plus M2, and here it is M1 U1 square, M1 square U1 square by M1 plus M2 whole square. So this is getting cancelled. So if you take 2 M1 plus M2 common, then here it is coming M1 U1 square minus, here you see it will become M1 square U1 square. So minus M1 square U1 square. So you can take U1 square, so you can write it as M1 U1 square. Now you see, in the last step I did one mistake, because here denominator is 2 only and here also 2. So it will be 2 into M1 plus M2, and it will become then M1 U1 square into M1 plus M2, because in the denominator here there is no M1 plus M2. Then minus M1 square U1 square. So what are you getting then? You see, if you just open the bracket, M1 square U1 square, you are getting cancelled. So it is coming M1 M2 into U1 square divided by 2 into M1 plus M2. So this is the expression for loss of kinetic energy. We generally denote it by delta K. Alright, so you must remember, for inelastic collision there is loss in kinetic energy, and how much is the loss in kinetic energy? M1 M2 U1 square divided by 2 into M1 plus M1 plus M2, but provided here that target is at rest, means before collision target is at rest, U2 equal to 0. So that's all about the theory part of this chapter. Thank you girls.